Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.
What's happening, everybody? How y'all doing? So check this out, right? I'm gonna tell y'all this story. My father, he can vouch for this. Well, I don't know if you remember this, right? But in my junior high year playing basketball, right? Me and my friend Gerald, we both were ineligible for the game. And how they used to do it was they went weekly. So if you did something, didn't turn in assignments, whatever the case may be, right? You were ineligible for that game. So we both were ineligible, right? So we came up with this idea that we just gonna dress out. You feel me? Like we just gonna put on our clothes and act like, you know what I'm saying? Everything was all good. And to make a long story short, they called Gerald in and they went to the scorers table and they realized like, hey, they're not in the scorers book. You know what I'm saying? So they're not supposed to be playing. So anyways, get a technical, all that other stuff, right? But my grandfather, he never missed a game. So he was at the game. And I remember I was just so nervous, right? Because I'm like, oh man, I know I'm in trouble, whatever, right? So after the game, I'm in the locker room and my friends is telling me, hey man, your dad out here, you know what I'm saying? He telling you to come on. I'm like, I'm not going, right? Like I'm not going. So anyways, he ends up leaving. I finally come out. My grandfather's taking me and Gerald home. Grandfather didn't say nothing. He said absolutely nothing. Drop Gerald off, riding home. I try to act like I'm asleep. Get home, still hadn't said nothing. Come in the house, I go in the room, he go back there in the room. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Next thing you know, I hear the phone ring. And I guess my father, the hood came up on his car when he was driving or whatever, right? So it could have been just a disaster. So my grandfather calls me back in the room and he's upset. But in my head, I'm thinking, like, where was this energy? You was just with me. Because now, you're upset. Now my grandmother's upset. And so like they're going off. And I remember my grandfather said something to me. He was just like, if you lie, you're going to have to lie on top of a lie. And then he just told me, he said, if you don't want to be nothing, I ain't going to make you be something. Now, here's the moral to that story. Had I took offense to what he told me that day, I would have built a fence. Had I would have took offense to what he said, I would have built a fence. And let me tell you the problem when you take offense. When you take offense, it creates a bridge, right? Because you're offended, you put up this wall. And for a lot of people, they won't tell the offender of how they're offended. So that gap just gets wider and wider and wider. The next thing you know, you look up, you don't even know why you don't like this person or you have ill feelings towards this person, right? But it was just simply because you were offended. You were offended. And in today's society, nobody wants to be quote unquote weak or meek. So they allow that offense to build that fence. Now, what my grandfather said to me, it hurt me because I am the first grandchild. So people don't understand the weight that I carried. Everything that they thought what a grandchild should be, it was placed upon me. My grandfather was a minister first, went on to be a pastor, went on to be a bishop. My grandmother, all she knew was God, right? So imagine the weight that I had on my shoulder, and I fell short every step of the way at first. I'm trying to find my way. And every time I would hear the same thing. My grandfather would, we take a ride in the car and he would just tell me like, blah, 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 this, that, and other, right? So that stuck with me. Then one time he told me, he said, I love you, but I'm not going to hell for you. And that stuck with me. Now, in that moment, I could have been offended, but I knew that what he was saying to me was out of sheer love. He wanted the best for me. But had I took his words as being offended, like if I was offended by that, I would have created that fence. So everything else that he told me, because I had this fence, it would have fell on deaf ears. So what I want anybody out there right now is to take a moment, think about your life. Think about all the times you were offended and you allowed that offense to build the fence. See, a lot of times you have to be teachable, you have to be coachable. Because a lot of times you are where you are because you chose not to listen to the ones that loved you. And for the ones that love you, they're going to continuously keep trying until they're tired. Now you out here just floating in life, and you would turn around, and when someone asks you your life story, you would tell them, I never had nobody. I've been out here getting it on my own. I ain't got no family. That sense of entitlement is simply because you chose to take the route of being so easily offended. You were so easily offended that everything someone was trying to tell you, it just became on deaf ears. I tell when I have conversations with my kids, right? Especially my senior this year, right? I have conversations with him sometimes, and sometimes he can be so stubborn, right? And I would tell him, I say, listen, I'm only telling you this. You don't have to listen, right? Like, you have every right not to listen what I'm telling you and what I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, tell you before you go down this road. You're either going to listen or you're not. You're either going to be offended or you're going to take the correction. Now, sometimes it takes a little correction, right, for him to understand, right? But he's not offended because it's not falling on deaf ears. So my message to anybody out there is to understand offense can lead to a fence. If someone offends you or you don't understand why they're saying this, simple communication. That's it. But people run from communication, right? And what kills me is these people that always talk about like they so hard, they don't take nothing from this, that, and the other. Those are the main ones that run from conversations. See, they like confrontation, but they don't like conversations. They don't like to sit down and really tap into their feelings to say, hey, listen, what you told me yesterday, it hurt me. Give that person the opportunity to say, well, listen, I am sorry that it hurt you. Here's what I was trying to convey. Because a lot of times you hear how you feel. If you feel down in the dumps, anything that somebody say to you is going to speak to that inner turmoil that you have. So a simple, hey man, you need to get it together sounds like you ain't doing nothing with your life, this, that, and other, because that's how you already feel about yourself. So now someone's telling you something from a great space. Now you got a fence. Now you got a wall up. And anytime I talk to people and they begin to tell me about how they ain't got no family, they ain't listen to this, that, and other, I always say, and what role did you play? What role did you play? You're 20-something years old. You cannot tell me that you didn't have people in your life that tried to speak life into you. You cannot tell me. Now, the person that was trying to speak life into you, you might not have liked how they looked. You might have put them way down here on the respect level, right? Because they didn't have anything to offer you but words. But God comes in many forms. You ever been somewhere and you feeling down in the dumps and that little old lady comes in and she says, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, you look nice, and it just brightens your day? See, we have this view of how God is going to come to us. It might be a job. It might be, we have all of this. No. Sometimes God will come. You're feeling down in the dumps and you look outside and the sun is shining bright and you remember something that your grandma said. You remember something that your grandfather said. You remember something that your father said. God will show up like that. So anyways, man, just remember, offense can build the fence.
Hey, let's talk about it, cause honestly we need to talk about social issues, just uplifting my people. Yeah, let's talk about it. Come join the conversation. A connection's what we're creating. Yeah.